Batman 1989. Not Kevin Conroy.
No.
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
The Vulture. No, wait.
Oh, that's MCU.
Yeah, MCU Vulture. Yeah, that's weird, right?
Why did he jump like that? That's a weird. I didn't even think about that.
Paycheck.
Yeah, he's
Yeah?
gonna make a living.
Making a fat dollar.
He's not actually Batman.
No.
No. Oh, I don't know. Did you guys see
He's
that?
an actor.
Have you guys seen that speech that he did at some college somewhere? And he's like, I want you to remember 3 words. I am Batman. Yeah. And then he just walks
Well,
off.
that's because he does some stuff with the new Flash movie that's supposed to be coming out. With their Flashpoint multiverse stuff.
Listen.
And I think they've cut it all out.
Well, it's also the most iconic line from this movie.
Yeah.
I'm Batman.
And it's funny because so Michael Keaton, just as a comedic actor, he brought a lot of interesting aspects to this movie. And one of those things was originally in the script, the line was, I am the Knight. And he changed it to I am Batman. And he also came up with the lowering his voice type thing. Like that was all Michael Keaton's doing. And it has translated, into future Batman movies and stuff like
Christian
that.
Bale just went to the next level.
Swear to me.
I'm not wearing hockey pants.
It's not what you are underneath. It's what you do that defines you. That guy went over the top.
Batman.
Love it.
Yeah.
But Kevin Conroy's definitely got that nailed down, though. He's the best Batman voice.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. This movie, I don't know, man. I have a weird spot for this movie because I don't like it as much as I feel like I should, but I don't have nearly as much like eye-rolly moments as I did for the original Superman for 78.
I feel like you and I are on the same page.
This is good. But what I really want to see, and I'm just going to get this out there because it has nothing to do with this movie, but what I really want to see is I want to see Michael Keaton come back as an older Bruce Wayne for a Batman Beyond movie. That's what I want to see. I want to see Terry McGinnis and Michael Keaton as old Bruce Wayne. Yeah. I think now's the time to do it. They like James Gunn or whoever's in freaking charge of DC right now needs to just go make it.
Maybe that's why he's doing some changes over there. Maybe he's going to do something like that.
Maybe that would be amazing.
Moving chess pieces
I would
around.
lose my mind. Jude, have you seen this movie before?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Girlfriend, I had a choreographed dance to several of these songs. Yeah, 89, yeah.
A choreographed dance to what? To the Prince song?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the Bat Dance video? And it wasn't even a song that was in the movie.
From Adam West?
But it's on the soundtrack.
No,
yeah, but it's on the soundtrack from Prince.
Oh.
This was a Prince soundtrack.
Is that the video where he's like half Joker, half Batman?
Yeah.
Really?
It'll blow your mind.
That's why I wear my Prince shirt today.
I know you were. Yeah, the Prince music was on point in this movie. It seemed a little weird, but it was
a little weird.
It was a little weird.
I hadn't watched this movie in a long time, and every time the Prince stuff kicks in,
that was all John Peters doing. So like John Peter and Peter Gruber produced this movie. This was their first mega hit, and John Peters, former hairdresser of Barbra Streisand, he basically, Warner Brothers was making this movie, and he was like, I want to make some money off the soundtrack. What popular artists can we put on there? And he found that Prince was part of like the Warner Brothers music library, and so he was like, let's get some Prince songs. They tried to get Michael Jackson too, but Michael Jackson was like, no, I don't want to do it.
Is there going to be a monkey in it? Can I put my monkey in the video?
Actually, Tim Burton was kind of pissed off that he was forced to put Prince songs in there because he liked Danny Elfman's score so much.
It's a weird mixture. It's a very strange mixture. Yeah. Like a pop art, whatever, 80s music on top of like...
It was all about selling soundtracks.
Yeah, an overall dark movie. This is when
I remember back in 89, in the 80s, soundtracks were a thing. Mm-hmm. So they were huge.
Movie albums were, that was the place to go to get your best mix.
Yeah, they actually had to release 2 different soundtracks for this movie, one with Danny Elfman's score and one with like all the pop songs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Most of them weren't even in the movie.
I had the soundtrack to Jurassic Park, and I had the soundtrack to Star Wars. I had the soundtrack to the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie with all that music on there.
It's like, I remember, I had a lot of soundtrack cassettes back in the day.
That was CDs.
Everything from Footloose to Vision Quest.
Wow.
Was good. The Rocky 4 was an awesome soundtrack.
I bet.
It's like really good music to go to the gym to.
Yeah. Rocky music? Absolutely.
Yeah. But
I had the Terminator soundtrack.
Seriously,
I did.
you would.
Yeah.
It's like dun 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 dun.
Well, the T2, the T2 one.
T2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, with
All right.
Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right.
Yeah.
What's your comment below what your favorite
Yeah.
movie soundtrack album was? I want to hear it in the comments. Type it in.
Yeah, that's a really fun topic. We could probably do a whole podcast.
I think we should do a show about soundtracks
about
one day.
soundtracks.
The
Yeah.
best movie soundtracks?
Yeah.
All right. We'll have to
Yeah,
do
for
some
sure.
research. That sounds fun. But one of the things opening in this movie with like the Thomas Wayne surrogate, the whole family is like, they're leaving the movie theater.
yeah.
I was fooled for a minute because I forgot
was
about
too.
it. I was like, is this supposed to be Thomas Wayne's? Thomas Wayne's rich. What's this
I know,
freaking
I
guy
said
doing?
the same thing. I was like, he doesn't have his own car.
I was like, what the heck's going on here?
Master Kadish
Yeah.
here was like, that's not Thomas Wayne.
It's not Thomas Wayne.
She's
It's all
all,
serious.
Harold, what are you doing? I'm like, wait a second.
But what gets me about this is like these people get robbed, right? They get robbed blind. The bad guys get away. And then Batman beats them up, but doesn't return any of the money.
I know.
And he's like, he takes these two criminals down, ties them up or whatever. And then he's just like, I'm Batman. Tell your friends. And then he bounces and he's like, fuck those plebs.
It's all about the narrative.
Here's the thing, and I know we'll do the synopsis here, I'm sure, really very soon. But I immediately noticed and I remembered, it's like, this is not Batman Ninja Fighter Batman.
No, not yet.
It's like, and then I started thinking about it. I go, okay, if I remember correctly, Michael Keaton couldn't move in this rubber suit that he's wearing.
Yeah.
So that's why his fighting style kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Because he's literally in this thing that he's like,
Would you?
that's why he can't even move his neck.
Yeah, I can't.
You know?
Yeah. That was one of
And
the famous things.
Yeah. And it's just, it honestly, it immediately kind of took me out of it when I started watching this, because I'm like,
You're so
God,
used
Batman,
to bail.
Batman can't fight. What's going on?
Yeah.
You know, he can't bend over. All he can do is move from the knee down
And do
it
leg
was-
kicks.
Yeah, it was very strange.
Some
It's very
people's heads are
strange.
down there.
But yeah, I don't know. It was very the very first scene with him where and then when he
puts his
then
puts
they-
his cape
they're
up.
like lowering him
It's
down
very
on the rope.
Dracula.
It's very Dracula.
Yeah, you know I was into it.
Yeah, for sure. Are you ready to do your synopsis?
Yeah.
Take it away.
Hello! 1989 Batman, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours, 6 minutes. This had a budget of $48 million. What do you think this brought into the box office?
God.
Let's go Vader first.
48 million?
Yeah.
Probably 180, 200 million.
Okay.
Around there.
Think so?
Yeah, this is a big movie.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Alex?
say I'm gonna say 200. I'm gonna agree. 200 million.
Okay. Had a budget of $48 million and a box office of $411 million. I think it was actually 411.6. It was huge.
I knew
Wow.
I was coming in low.
Yeah.
400.
So Superman was Warner Brothers' highest grossing movie of the 70s, and Batman was Warner Brothers' highest grossing movie of the 80s.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's
And
a
it's
lot of
the
money.
end of the 80s too. Or
Yeah, 89.
So like it like squeaking that right in there at the end of the 80s.
Would that be a $1 billion movie adjusted?
Close, probably, yeah. Because somebody commented in our Discord when they were talking about Superman. They said that the box office for Superman equals out to like 1.5 million or billion.
Really?
Yeah, if you take it into modern money. So I'm sure this probably brought in at least that much.
So you want to hear something crazy?
Yes.
So Jack Nicholson, when they approached him about being in this movie, he was asking for too much money, but he really wanted to work with John Peters and Tim Burton. And so he agreed to take a smaller salary in exchange for a small percentage of the gross profits of the movie. And so he made $60 million off of this movie. Now, adjusted for inflation, how much do you think that is in
The
today's
60
money?
million?
Yeah.
Oh, probably
200 million?
200 million,
$140 million equivalent is what he made off this
Wow.
movie.
yeah. Wasn't he one of the first actors to do a back-end deal on a movie like that?
Somebody did it for Star Wars in '77.
Yeah.
It was
Really?
George Lucas did a toy deal, and then one of the actors, I think it was Alec Guinness, maybe did something for like back end profits. He made a shit ton of money on Star
I
Wars.
always thought that this was like one of the first.
Correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys know,
Yeah.
comment below if you know who from Star Wars or any other franchise that took the back end deal.
Pop it in the comments.
But you know what?
Real quick though, $300 million from the Superman movies profits in 1978 equals 1.3 billion now. So
Okay.
400 million would have been a little bit over probably 1.5 billion. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wild.
Nice.
Good for this movie.
Yeah.
Take it away, Jude.
Ready?
Synopsis.
Okay. Nothing bad ever happens in a toxic waste facility, except for every supervillain born out of a vat of goo. Joker's got plenty of minions, bullets, and insanity, but what he really wants is that special someone by his side while he gives Gotham City that enema it really needs. Vicky Vale starts stalking Bruce Wayne after he ghosts her following their one-night stand and comes right into Joker's radar. There's something special about her that Joker wants, but Batman swoops in with his wonderful toys, saving the lady and whisking her away to the Batcave. Meanwhile, everyone in Gotham City is getting real ugly after Joker poisoned all the beauty products. Batman cracks the code on the poison, saving hundreds of Gotham uggos, but Joker's still out there wreaking havoc. He dances with the devil in the pale moonlight, and that just happens to be the clue the world's greatest detective needed to solve the one mystery that's plagued him his whole life. Discuss.
Here's a question for you. Who do you think is more iconic in this movie, Jack Nicholson or Michael Keaton?
Jack Nicholson has all the great lines.
Well, Jack Nicholson's got top billing too.
Yeah.
This was a Joker movie.
Yeah, this was a Joker movie. I was going to say, I'm like, Batman was barely in this movie. It was mostly Bruce Wayne doing some shenanigans, and then Batman would show up once in a while to clean things up. But mostly it's just the Joker, man, Jack Nicholson. And I mean,
Jack Nicholson was huge.
Yeah. Well, he's never not been 47.
This is true.
Like, when I look at this, I look at The Shining. Can
we change that to like 55 or something?
Sorry, yeah. Why is 57 annoy you?
47 annoys me because I'm older than that. So up the age a little bit.
55. He's always been 55.
You were once a young buck, though.
I just think it's funny because I'm like, I've grown up with Jack Nicholson in movies, and I'm like, I think he's always just been in his 40s and 50s. Like,
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I think he was like in his 30s.
He looked like he was in his 40s.
Yeah.
Anyway, his iconic character. One thing I noticed about this, and I really appreciate it, and I don't think I've ever noticed this before, but when the Joker is in full display and he's acting all goofy and he's dancing around doing stuff, there's always some weird lullaby, whatever, clown music playing. Mm-hmm. But right when the music stops and there's nothing in the background, that's when it's like, it's on. Like, you know it's serious when the music stops. If you watch the movie, you'll see like music will stop and all of a sudden the Joker's attitude completely changes and he goes all serious, and he's like, he kind of becomes the gangster. Mm-hmm. And then when he's like goofing around, playing, dancing, spray painting shit, the music's going like that. So it's like a nice little audio cue for like when shit's really being serious. Otherwise, when he's being goofy. I liked it.
I really appreciated Jack's performance in this. I think a little more after watching this last night than I have in the past, because he's completely bipolar. It's really wild to watch him, snap into Joker mode. I mean, he's crazy in every mode that he's in. Yeah. But watching him do his thing is really kind of funny. It's just, and it's a weird role for Jack, right? The way he goes from his goofy
dancing around
to like, just
killing people in the face.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson actually has gone on record as saying this was like one of his all-time favorite performances. Mm-hmm. In fact, this is like something where like when they were shooting it, like he wasn't really big on like watching dailies, but then he started seeing himself and he just kind of fell in love with his performance. And he'd like play these dailies at his home. Just because he's, look at how good I am.
Even with that prosthetic thing inside his mouth, he still looks back on this experience fondly.
Yeah, and basically he said that one of the great things about the Joker, and once he realized it, was that the Joker, anything went with the character, because like, as an actor, you have to be like true to the character. But he said that like this character was so free to do anything at any point because he was so unpredictable that Jack Nicholson could literally improv anything and it would be in character. Huh. Mm-hmm. And so actually like, it's kind of funny because most of this movie is improv. The script was in constant flux, state of constant flux as it was being made. And Jack Nicholson, like all the Joker stuff, was pretty much just Jack being Jack. Mm-hmm. And also Michael Keaton, even though the casting of Michael Keaton created a nerd uproar, like pre-internet nerd uproar.
Pissed.
Well, he was a comedic actor, and everybody was like, "What's this freaking Mr. Mom guy's gonna be Batman? Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, and in fact, there was like a letter writing campaign. 50,000 Batman fans sent letters to Warner Brothers protesting the casting of Michael Keaton.
It's like I was making a comment last night in our watch party where It's like, could you imagine if we had the social media?
Oh God, we'd be.
Well, just look at Heath Ledger's Joker. It was the same
Heath
thing.
Ledger, and then Ben Affleck as Batman. There was a whole freaking uproar about that. Robert Pattinson. There's every time there's a new Batman, they're like, "That's not my Batman."
Well, and it's happening again right now because James Gunn's
he's going to recast another Batman. Yeah,
but it's like we talked about when we were talking about Superman the movie.
Yeah,
Christopher Reeve was an unknown. Mm-hmm. We never would have known about Christopher Reeve if he hadn't been cast as Superman. Yeah. So we're going to get somebody new here soon. So it's
going to be the new generation.
It's going to be the next generation Superman. We've had Cavill for how long? 10 years?
Yeah, but he's only had 1.5 movies.
5 movies he's been in?
5?
I don't know. All the Justice League movies.
Those are bullshit.
Well, that's it. But you know what I'm saying? It's just I want people to just calm down.
What? You want people to calm down?
Let them cast their Superman.
Bullshit. If somebody recast Luke Skywalker, you'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
Listen, when they remake Star Wars, I will go nuclear.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Don't fucking touch my movie. All right? That's nonsense. But this is a different thing.
It's different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Michael Keaton, so basically, Beetlejuice had just come out before this, and that was one of the reasons why Tim Burton got the directing gig here. But Michael Keaton was riding high off of the success of Beetlejuice, but he had also done a smaller independent film called Clean and Sober, where he played a more serious, darker role. And so that movie was kind of proof that he could play the dark, brooding character. And the studio was like, okay, we'll go with Michael Keaton, and because you got to remember that up to this point, the only perception people had of Batman was the Adam West 1966 TV show. Mm-hmm. And so everyone before this movie got going was just thinking that this was going to be a campy comedy. In fact, this movie got kind of rolling into production right after the success of Superman. So it had been in development for about 10 years. Wow. And at first it was going to be a comedy directed by Ivan Reitman, and Bill Murray was going to be Batman.
No.
And Eddie Murphy was going to be Robin. Yeah. This thing,
that would have been so weird.
This thing went through a lot of iterations before it came to this point. And I just want to point out that this is one of the movies that made Matthew Kadish. This was a huge part of my childhood because I was always a Batman fan. And I can remember when this movie came out, my family was on vacation in Virginia Beach, and I begged my parents to take us to go see Batman, even though it was PG-13. And me and my brothers were super young.
Aww.
And so they brought us to see it in the theater while we were on vacation. And this movie blew my freaking mind. Yeah. It was revolutionary, not only to me, but to a lot of comic book fans. Cause I don't know if Vader, if you remember the marketing hype behind this, the marketing campaign for this movie is legendary, because basically what happened was there were all these rumors circulating about the making of this movie. Nerd fans before the internet, they were just going to Comic-Cons and bad mouthing this movie, saying oh, it's gonna be trash, it's gonna be like Batman 66, stuff like that. So in order to kind of assuage those fears, Tim Burton cut a trailer. I think it was a 60-second trailer. It was a long trailer, using the footage that they'd already shot. And he showed it to a couple people, and the studio loved it so much that they started putting it in front of other movies. And the fans went nuts because you got to remember, up to this point, Batman wasn't grim dark. There wasn't a really super serious
it was goofy.
Yeah, it was campy. And so with this movie, first of all, Batman was in all black. He looked like a bat. He had really pointy ears, like they added 6 inches onto those things. Yeah. Jack Nicholson as the Joker, it wasn't the Cesar Romero's Joker. It was a dark, serious Joker. And so everything that was coming out of this, it was the Frank Miller comic book, The Dark Knight Returns, brought to life. And even though Tim Burton was never a real comic book guy, he brought a kind of aesthetic to the film. He did something really smart, which was he kind of combined different decades in terms of the design of the film. So you can't tell what time period this movie's happening, which gives it kind of an ageless quality. But he also brought in these art deco elements to Gotham City and made it kind of its own unique fantasy city in a weird way. And so there's a lot of things in this movie that make it age well, but it also makes it so unique. And Danny Elfman's score has become the iconic Batman score.
Well, they used it for the animated series.
Yeah. And in fact, Paul Dini, like when he saw this movie, like it blew his mind, and that's what got him into Batman. It's what got a lot of people into Batman. And this movie, like, you know, the posters for it were just like the Batman symbol, like you know, and nothing. Like it's kind of funny because when you watch some documentaries on this, they show a bunch of like the concept posters, and it's always like the face of like Jack Nicholson in some way, and it's just like creepy. And the fact that they settled on the Batman symbol and just focused on that, it was like a brilliant marketing move.
Right.
So like when this movie came out, it became a pop culture zeitgeist. And this is really the movie that made Batman the part of the social fabric of our culture that he is currently. Because even though like I grew up on the Batman 66 stuff with Adam West and Burt Ward, and it was a lot of fun, but it was campy and nobody took it seriously. This movie paved the way, more so than Superman, I think, for people to take comic book movies seriously.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. That's a dope poster.
It really
That's
is.
a really good
Yeah.
poster. And this, I don't know. I love this movie. I have a lot of fun with it. There's some elements of it that I don't feel like age super well. Like you said, the fight choreography and stuff like that.
It's not great.
It's not great.
There's a lot of goofiness to this movie.
There is a lot of silliness, but you know, it's
and-
funny that they're like, "Oh, this is the movie that made everybody take comic book movies seriously, and it's dark and grim." And I'm like, compared to the '66 Batman, yes,
I actually like the next movie better.
Batman with Catwoman.
With Catwoman and
I
Penguin.
love that one.
You know what's funny
But-
is Michael Keaton was dating Michelle Pfeiffer during the making of this movie.
out!
Yeah.
Like they were a couple, and originally she was going to be Vicky Vale, but he was like, I don't want to work with my girlfriend, that would be weird.
Smart.
And then after they broke up, he was like, cast her as Catwoman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a great Catwoman. And Kim Basinger is a great Vicky Vale.
You know what I don't like about that movie though was Danny DeVito
Well, I thought he was a great.
as the Penguin.
Yeah.
That was a bit much.
It's just it's a weird take, but
I
I actually
love
kind of like
Catwoman, though.
I like what they did. I like it. I like the weird Tim Burton craziness to these movies. But at the same time, about this movie, there was a lot about this movie that I thought was just kind of off and weird. But I chalk that up to Tim Burton being
yeah.
Tim Burton, like the whole the museum scene is so weird.
Do you know what the museum was called?
I
Gotham
not off the top of my
Museum.
head.
Jude, obviously you
Acme
didn't
Museum
pay
or
attention.
something, right?
It's called the Flugelheim Museum.
Get out.
What?
No, it's in the movie, the Flugelheim.
Flugelheim?
It was a playoff of the Guggenheim,
Yeah.
but they were like Flugelheim.
Flugelheim. That's the safe word. At
There's scenes in this movie
Von de Sex.
that it's like Jack Nicholson is both awesome in this movie, and at the same time, he's eye-rollingly weird, and I think that's what that's some of the issues I have with this movie. It's just like my brain is so conflicted with this movie because I love it, and there's a lot of it that I just think is weird as hell.
So
I don't like it.
There's a scene.
So I'm really conflicted with this thing.
I'm gonna specifically mention a scene that I think you might be talking about. But was there was setup and payoff for this. So earlier, Jack went to his mob boss and he was like, "You're my number one man, Jack."
Oh yeah, Jack
Go-
Palance. Love Jack Palance.
Go get the job done, you know. And then Jack, once he becomes the Joker, he tells "You're my
Oh yeah.
number one man."
Yeah,
He's
does
like
his
he's just like
Jack Palance
doing his
he like
impression.
Jack Palance
shakes it like
impression.
that, and I'm like, dude, just take it down a notch.
Slow down.
Well, you know why I think Vader's having an issue with this is because this movie was literally like made up as they were shooting it.
Yeah, it could be.
like they were using their initial script as kind of like a jumping off point, but there were so many changes being made to the story that, like for instance, at the end of the movie, it's revealed that the Joker was the one who killed Batman's parents. Right?
Yeah.
And that even when I was a kid, I was like, that kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And the idea here was that the screenwriter for the script constantly fought against making, the killer of Batman's parents, the Joker. But Tim Burton wanted to do it because he felt like it added emotional stakes to like the finale, like the final confrontation. And so they added this thing where it's like, you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? What?
And the reason that just kind of comes out of nowhere, like towards like the third act of the movie is because that's just when they thought it up. Like in the shooting schedule, they're like, oh, we should make the Joker the killer Batman's parents. And so like, that's where they added it in and they didn't have to.
I love Bruce Wayne's reaction when he says that line. And then
yeah, he like stops and he's like looks at him
when
like,
you first see it, you're like, oh yeah, what? But then like upon rewatch, when you know what that line means, when you see Bruce Wayne's reaction, you're like,
he's like, I've heard
he
that
just
before.
pieced it together.
Yeah.
You know,
was cool.
there was one thing I learned last night that I kind of like made me a little annoyed with myself, is that for the last 4 decades, however long it's been since this thing came out, I always thought that Brian Thompson played young Jack Napier.
Really?
Oh.
Huh. I could see that.
In that one scene
They're
where
very
he's got the
similar.
jaw.
Yeah.
he's got the jaw,
Yeah.
looks just like him.
Yeah.
But I
It's not him though.
but I got put in my place last night. So
At our,
I was a little bit disappointed. It's like, oh.
we did watch this on our Monday
Yeah.
night watch party on Discord. So if you guys want to join us every Monday night, we watch a movie that we're talking about on the podcast. So go to saltynerddiscord.com, sign up, and you guys can watch along with us.
And how about Billy D. Williams as awesome Harvey Dent?
Smooth talking Billy D.
You got to get out of my head.
Bro.
But Alex and I, we watch these things together, right? And it's like we're typing in their chat. And it's like, I always beat him, but we always say the same thing. It's
Within
weird.
seconds. I'm
It's
typing it
weird.
at the same time he is, and he hits enter before I do. But it's like, Gotham City's known for
Colt 45.
Colt 45. And I'm just like, dude, get out of my head.
And you know what's funny is they always plan, like at least Tim Burton always planned to use Billy D as like, you know, Two-Face.
Yeah.
And then like he left and Joel Schumacher came in, and when they decided to bring the Two-Face character in, the studio wanted Tommy Lee Jones, and so they actually had to buy out Billy D's contract because he was contracted to play that character in one of the Batman movies. So
should've kept
he
Billy
made a
D.
bunch of money not doing anything.
Well, you know what? He might have dodged a bullet with that Schumacher movie because those movies are trash. So, yeah.
Well, he would have had to play against Jim Carrey at least.
Maybe. I don't know. Billy D and Jim Carrey. Can you imagine that in the same movie?
That's a strange pairing.
That is a strange pairing. Anyway,
I'd watch it.
Strange.
I love
Strange
seeing
pairing.
Billy D in any movie. And I miss his smooth talking freaking way. He's just so suave, dude. He can say anything. I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. Like, you want to go rob a bank today? Yes, I do, Billy D.
You know what? Kinda. Kim Basinger gives such great scream.
You can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs.
I don't know if you ever pay attention to this, but like when women are screaming in movies, which they do often.
Yeah.
Like there is a quality to the scream that she does that it doesn't take you out of it, and it doesn't like. It's not like, oh God, woman, stop. It's like, yeah, bitch.
She screams 23 times in
Her
the movie.
screams
Does she really?
throughout it are just, they're so good. And I'm having a hard time like telling you why, but like if you're a person who pays attention to screams, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Original Scream Queen.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things, and this has to do with nerd community and the outrage that people have over certain things with characters that they love. But I remember when Ben Affleck's character Batman like was just mowing people down in Snyder's movie. I don't remember which one it was.
Oh, we had this talk.
We had this discussion. Yeah, we talked about this the other day. And I'm like, everybody's like, Batman doesn't kill people. He wouldn't have machine guns on his bullet. Bullshit, you assholes.
Yeah.
This guy murders 17 people in this movie. He blows the shit out of people. He's got machine guns on his Batmobile. Get out of here with your outrage.
Missiles and a Gatling gun on
Dude.
the Batwing.
Blowing people up.
Yeah,
Throwing them down freaking trenches and bottomless holes. And I'm like,
He did throw Nicholson into toxic waste.
I'm like, this
He
dude
tried to
murders
save him,
people.
okay?
Yeah, I remember last we were talking. I'm like, wait a minute, I thought Batman wasn't supposed to kill people.
That's never been a thing.
It's never been a thing.
It's a
It
thing
really
in the
isn't.
comics, I think.
Is it? It's
I
because-
think, and I think it's an animated
because
series
let me tell
thing.
you, man, movie Batman
Murders people.
Yeah, it's weird.
So this whole hate for Ben Affleck's like, oh, he's got machine guns, he's killing people left and right.
So
Yeah. Where you been? I think
it opened my eyes a little bit.
I think the no killing people thing came from the animated series because they were not legally.
Well, that was a cartoon.
Yeah, they
it
were
was
not
intended for
Yeah.
children.
Yeah, they were not legally allowed to show death in the cartoon because it's made for kids.
Or to show like the hero murdering.
Yeah,
people.
so I think that trope might have come from the cartoon, maybe a couple
I
comics
have
here and
no
there.
idea.
But like, if this was like,
the guys in the chat were telling me, oh, that's just a thing you got mixed up with Superman. It's like, maybe it is.
I don't know. I remember there being a lot of outrage over Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Like just
But then
mowing
Superman
people down.
snapped Zod's neck. So
Well, Superman kills
Whatever.
Zod in the Superman 2 movie too.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? Heroes kill people.
he didn't, and that blew my mind too. Because he threw them all down the
Yeah,
bottomless
he
pit.
broke his hand and threw him down the pit.
Yeah.
So Superman and Batman have a kill streak.
Wait, in Superman 2, like after they fall into the pit, don't they go back into the Phantom
I
Zone?
know.
Pit
I don't
of
remember.
despair.
Because they're trapped in the mirror again.
I don't know. Don't even try to escape. I don't know. I have to watch it. We have to review
Yeah.
Superman
Yeah,
2.
Yeah.
I have to watch
I
it.
guess so.
That's
and,
what we're doing
find out.
next week is Batman
no.
2 and
No,
Superman 2.
no.
I want to talk about Bruce Wayne.
Go for it.
So when we talked about
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Let's get
when we talked about the latest Batman with Robert Pattinson, we talked about like what a great Batman he was, but not a very convincing Bruce Wayne.
Right.
I love Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne. I think he's so suave. He's charismatic.
He took Vicky
he's
to bed the first
ladies'
night.
man. He's
Yeah.
remaining sober, letting her get all drunk and slutty. And she's like, "You don't feel anything," and he's just like, "Come on, baby, let me take that shoe off."
Yeah, you know, everyone kind of focuses on Jack Nicholson's improvs, but like Michael Keaton brought a lot to this role. Like, remember that first date where like Vicky Vale and Bruce Wayne are like eating soup and they're
Yeah.
like on opposite ends of that long table.
Oh.
That was Michael Keaton's idea.
And we also get a shout out to the podcast.
Could you pass the salt?
Sure.
Can you pass the
salt.
salt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did that for us.
They
in
did.
89.
They did. They were like, there's going to be some people in about 40 years.
Yeah, but that like the whole long table gag, that was Michael Keaton's thing, and the upside down like anti-gravity boots, that was Michael Keaton's idea as well. Like Michael Keaton's input into the character of both Bruce Wayne and Batman was just as vital as Jack Nicholson's input on the Joker. And so like he actually like brought a lot to this movie that kind of gets glossed over when people talk about it.
I just love that he sealed the deal on the first date. Like, good for you.
Well, he is a billionaire, so
And honestly, that's also a Bruce Wayne trope. Bruce Wayne is supposed to be a ladies' man.
Yeah.
And I love how they incorporated that aspect of this character, but it's not so heavy-handed.
Yeah.
You know?
I do like personally, I feel like Bruce Wayne should be the barrel-chested businessman who's like just like Americana, the capitalist supreme or whatever. That's one of the reasons why I hated Pattinson's Batman, or not Batman, but his Bruce Wayne, because he was like such a shriveled little depressed emo kid.
Yeah, it's like, get out
I'm
of
like,
here.
no, man, there's two completely different personalities
Yeah.
going on with Bruce Wayne and Batman. Bruce Wayne, some can argue, like I know Christopher Nolan made the argument that like Bruce Wayne was the mask and Batman was the real character. Great, play with that idea. But like this idea that Bruce Wayne is a suave, he's a smooth talking businessman, very intelligent, smart guy. Like I want that Bruce Wayne. And then on the other side of that, once he puts that cowl on, I want him to just be a freaking savage.
I really hope in the next new Batman, the Pattinson one, that he.
Are they making a second one?
Oh yeah, I hope they play that up more.
Buff him up a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, get in the gym, boy.
What's funny is like when Michael Keaton was cast, people were like, he's not built enough. In fact, Sylvester Stallone, after this movie hit big, came out publicly and said like, this Batman movie is the death of the action star, because essentially what they did is they took a normal framed human being, Michael Keaton, and they put him in a costume that was sculpted to look like it was buffer. But it was kind of interesting because the director, Tim Burton, he came out and he said, well, that's part of the disguise, right? Where like you have this normal sized human being, and then like as Batman, he, he's all bulky and stuff.
That brings up a good thing that I've always kind of laughed at with Henry Cavill's Superman. Is like Henry Cavill's Superman is yoked and he's freaking shredded, looks damn good in that suit, right? But then you get Clark Kent and you're like, you go to the gym, don't you, buddy? Like, there's no hiding the amount of freaking pure
No, he
mass
puts
that
the
guy.
glasses on.
It's fine. He doesn't have
it's just
48-inch biceps or
Here,
nothing.
Hold on. This is me. This is super me. Oh, hey.
Guys,
Where'd Vader go?
Where'd Vader go?
How are you doing?
Who's this new guy?
What are you doing in our studio?
Excuse me, sir. Can you please leave? We're in the middle of recording.
My Clark Kent outfit. Yeah.
It's true though. That's a good point. Like the Batman outfit's got like the sculpted muscles, and then part of his disguise is that he's just like a normal guy. Like nowadays, I love the fact that these actors get into like super good shape for their roles. I think it's great. Keep doing it. But there is something to be said about the alter ego part of this. Where like you're a yoked dude. You're not gonna hide that.
There's no nipples in this one, right?
No, that comes with the Schumacher
That's
thing.
that's up the Clooney badge.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Clooney. And who was before
Val
Clooney?
Kilmer.
Val Kilmer. That's right. He had nipples on his bat suit too, I think.
I don't know.
Did he?
It's weird.
Find out. Comment below. Which
I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
Were there nipples on Batgirl's bat suit?
No.
That's
But she did have
that's some bullshit right there.
That's some sexist stuff.
But she was Alfred's niece.
Who
Something
was
weird.
that?
Alicia
that
Silverstone.
Alicia Silverstone. Man, she was a heartthrob back in the day.
Gotta love her.
Anyway,
She's still cute. She's still cute, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So we should probably talk about the design of the bat suit a little bit.
That's,
The one
I
that they couldn't
actually,
move in.
I actually really like, despite the fact that he's just like a rubber mannequin moving around, he can't move his neck or anything like that. I actually really like this design. The whole black thing with the bright yellow logo. That's kind of my favorite version. Nowadays they try to hide the logo almost, and like it's like blended in with the suit.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a part of the suit. I like that it's like this bright yellow freaking Batman symbol. And
Yeah,
I
the
think
shield.
yeah, there's something in, I can't remember what comic it came from, but the reason for that was like he wanted,
That was the Dark Knight Returns.
was it anybody who wanted to shoot at him would be fixated on the bright yellow thing, which is where he was most protected from bullets. So he would try to get like bring their aim there.
Yep. That was Frank Miller, and he was like, "Why do you think I have such a big target on my chest?"
Yeah, yeah, I dig it. That's my favorite version of the suit.
Yeah, but you know, going into this movie, like, you know, people thought of Batman as wearing like leotards and like, you know, kind of like similar to the Superman costume where it was blue and gray, and he had like those weird like tacked on pointy ears. And with this one, they're like, we're going full body armor. It's all black. You know, we got like the vampire type cape, and we got the 6-inch ears. It was such a radical redesign, and in a weird way, kind of a little bit more comic book accurate, but going like with the all black costume was like a huge change. And so many comic book nerds at the time just like geeked out over this because they were like, yes, this is what Batman should look like.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I know the iconic 70s not cartoon, but comic book Batman is like light gray with like blue boots and it's very different than this. So if you're growing up reading Batman and he's normally in like light gray and blue, and then you go watch this and he's like completely blacked out, all shaded in. Yeah, I could freak out about that too. Absolutely. That's cool. What else do you guys want to talk about? You guys are super talkative today.
I'm doing my dailies.
Oh, are you doing dailies on Dragon Champions?
I am. I literally am.
Speaking of DC,
Speaking of DC, if you guys want to download a mobile game called Dragon Champions, go to your iPhone or your Apple device or your Android device or wherever, and head over to that Apple store and grab yourself Dragon Champions. The developers of the game help support us as a podcast. We want to return the favor, so make sure to type in Salty in the promo code area, and you guys get a leg up. You get an extra character, some extra jewels, nice little leg up on the competition. And you guys get to help support us in what we do here by doing so. It's completely free to play, really easy, fun hero collecting game where you get to upgrade them. And then if you do want to, you can go to our Discord channel and join our Dragon Champions Discord. And those guys are coordinating themselves with battles and raids and all kinds of really cool stuff. So head over there as well. saltynerd.com/DC for Dragon Champions.
okay.
So
Sorry.
Jude.
Want to flip for it?
ladies first.
There was one more thing that I just remembered because we're watching it on the screen that I wanted to talk about was Jack Nicholson's Joker, and I loved the take on it when he's all made up as Jack, and then when he like falls into water or whatever, and then that's the mask.
Yeah,
it's not the Joker painted on. The Joker is his real face.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well,
I liked that.
That's a classic comic book thing where like the Joker falls in the vat of acid and it dyes his skin, which is why he has those colors. He's got pale white skin with the red lips and all that stuff. So that's actually what he looks like. The makeup where he looks normal, that's just fake bullcrap.
So I want to propose something to not only you guys, but the audience as well. And I call it the Dark Knight Challenge.
Oh, okay.
So everyone loves the Christopher Nolan trilogy, right? Like that was like one of the big reboots of Batman after like it got super campy, like with the Schumacher era and stuff like that. And everyone kind of like applauds Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight as being this like super amazing movie.
Yeah.
So the Dark Knight challenge is this: watch Batman 1989, and then immediately after watch The Dark Knight, and see if you can tell that The Dark Knight is basically a complete ripoff of Batman 1989.
Well,
Oh.
they're both origin stories, though.
No, like if you look at the big set pieces in The Dark Knight, they're just slightly altered versions of the big set pieces in this movie. So when Joker kind of calls all the mob bosses together and fries that one guy,
Yeah.
look at the scene where the Joker shows up at the mob boss meeting and kills the one guy with the pencil.
With the pencil, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me show you a magic trick. Okay.
And then like at the end when the Batwing is flying towards the Joker and he shoots it, watch that compared to the scene where Batman's trying to run down the Joker on his motorcycle and the Joker has his gun. There's so many scenes in The Dark Knight that mirror scenes from this movie that it's like the first time I noticed it, it was creepy to me. I was like, wow, Christopher Nolan just ripped off this movie.
Did he rip it off or did he pay homage? That's the question. If you like the movie, it's paying homage.
Yeah.
If you don't like the movie, it's a ripoff. That's
I don't
my.
have an issue with it.
Well, structurally, he basically copied beat for beat what this movie was, and even down to like almost like the love interest and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, like he changed it enough to make it his own.
Yeah.
But from a meta point of view, structurally,
No, because
like
his love interest has brown hair in it.
yeah. But it is funny, like when you watch those two movies back to back, they're eerily similar.
Huh.
And in fact, in Batman Begins, because there were so many versions of the script for Batman 1989, there was a lot of stuff that was going to be in the movie that got cut out. Nolan went back and looked through all these versions and picked out stuff he liked for Batman Begins, because originally the script for this movie was going to be Bruce Wayne traveling around and training and then coming back to Gotham and doing becoming Batman. And so Nolan cannibalized those things that got cut out for Batman Begins and kind of put his own twist on those too.
That sounds like a smart filmmaker.
I love how Gotham City looks too.
In this movie?
I mean, I love the Art Deco,
So-
and I love that this city called Gotham City is goth.
Do you know where Gotham comes from? I just found this out the other day. I was on Instagram randomly, and they said Gotham is an old English term called Gotham, which means goat house, which is was supposed to be making fun of New York City.
Okay.
And they used to call New York City Gotham because it was a place for these rich aristocrats to think highly of themselves, and they were making fun of the upper class by calling it a goat house. Like, oh, y'all live in the goat house. Oh, y'all live in Gotham. Like it was a weird twist on like an insult for old rich white people.
Okay.
I thought that was really cool. I was like, oh, so Gotham comes from like an old English term for goat house or whatever. Like, oh, it's the shit place that you don't want to go.
Well, like in the beginning of this movie, we see a couple of tourists, and immediately I was like, who the fuck goes to Gotham City on vacation? But like the juxtaposition between like Gotham City and Metropolis.
Yeah.
Like Metropolis is a metropolis.
It's
of
the
a
future.
City.
It's the city of the future.
Yeah. And Gotham is just like this.
Run down, ragged piece of shit sound.
I have a Joker question.
Yeah.
And it's something I started thinking about last night. So he gets dumped into vat of chemicals and then he comes out the Joker.
Right.
So does he put flesh colored makeup on, or is he putting because his skin's all white, or is he?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That I love that the white skin is his real face and the flesh colored makeup is the mask.
All right.
Yeah, he's got flesh-colored makeup on right now.
I think I've been confused about that for 40 years.
Really? Did you just now figure it out?
Well, I think that this is the only movie that they do that in. Because Heath Ledger puts on the
He's
makeup.
got makeup on.
He puts on white face.
Yeah.
In
So does Cesar Romero.
Yeah.
And then I think the only other person I think Joaquin Phoenix is painted on face. I think the only one that went for the white pale skin was Jared Leto's Joker.
Oh, Jesus.
You looked at me. Wasn't I supposed to say that word?
I don't know. Saying Jared Leto's Joker is like
no. I
call evil upon yourself.
The
Let it
face
go.
word.
Oh, the white face. No, I just thought it was funny.
Okay.
Did he put on white face? Yes, he did.
Joker face. Whatever.
Got to put on a happy face.
Why
Yeah,
so serious?
I think Jared Leto's Joker is the only one that went with the Jack Nicholson natural white skin color.
I
That's freaking me out right now.
yeah.
Oh, I don't like tying things to that movie.
Well, and also in that movie, he's not like trying to go in disguise. So like he doesn't put on flesh colored makeup or anything. That's just like the way that he looks in it.
But you have to make sure
I guess you really can't tell either way if he's made himself up.
Well, you have to make sure that you know that he's damaged because you tattoo damaged on his forehead. That
was very subtle.
This is a very subtle way of showing us that he is a villain.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say. This is a great movie. I thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think I like it much better than the original Superman movie from 1978. This one still holds up in a lot of ways, although it is showing its age.
It's showing its age.
A handful of times. You're like, ooh, that's cringy. Oh, that's outdated. But overall, great, iconic. Michael Keaton. I want to see him back as old Bruce Wayne in a Batman Beyond movie. I'm going to give this a solid 4 stars for me.
4 stars.
Alex, who's your Batman? Like when you think of Batman, who's the Batman for you?
I'm supposed to say Christian Bale.
Yeah.
That's because that's who I grew up with.
Okay.
When did that movie come out? 2006 or something like that? I was just graduating high school or whatever.
So when you think of Batman, you think of Christian Bale's
I
Batman.
kind of do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Although I do
Just
find,
curious.
yeah. I mean, I feel like I grew up with the Schumacher. I guess technically I grew up with the Schumacher. So George Clooney.
I'm just asking you who you think of. when
I'm
you say
having a
Batman.
crisis of personality right now. George Clooney is actually the Batman that I grew up with. Those were the movies that came out when I was in the age of watching Batman movies. And I was like, this sucks. This is awful. And I didn't like them. So I was like, this is like Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze.
Did you say Kevin Conroy?
Yes, that would be the appropriate answer for an animated show.
I swear to God, you are so frustrating. I say Batman. What actor do you think of?
All of them.
Fine.
Keaton is there. Conroy's there. George Clooney is like somewhere in there. And then Christian Bale is like, oh, that's really
Alex
cool.
is like, I can't think of an actor because he's a real man in a mask. And no one knows his real identity.
I grew up in an era where I had like 5 different Batman to freaking choose from. And I'm just like,
I didn't know asking you a normal
It's a
question
complicated question, Jude.
into
It's
a
not, though.
fucking
It's not
rabbit hole.
complicated. It's not
It's a
complicated.
Vader, who's your Batman?
My Batman is Christian Bale.
Okay. And you said the same thing because I had already asked you this last night, right, Kadish?
Yeah, like I never liked Michael Keaton's casting as Batman, and I didn't think Val Kilmer was a good Batman. I didn't think George Clooney was a good Batman. Adam West was not Batman. He was just like a cartoon, like caricature of Batman. So, and I also didn't think Ben Affleck was very good. So my kind of default is I feel like Christian Bale nailed both Bruce Wayne and Batman most consistently. And so like, in my opinion, he's the best Batman so far.
They're all Batman. I can't pick just one.
It's a weird question. And it's not a weird question, but everybody's gonna have a different.
Because I was born in
I was just
80.
curious.
Those Nolan movies that's always how I've seen Batman in my head, is how he was portrayed in those movies. So Christian Bale's my Batman. I love that Joker.
Love that Joker.
That's the
Who's your favorite Batman? Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger is the best Joker.
Personally, I
agree.
do think
So-
Heath Ledger did better than Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
And I know some people might take offense to that, but
But
that's just how I feel.
I don't know. This movie, it's a good movie. It's a classic at this point. It has its place in
Yeah. What do you give it for
movie
rating?
history? But it doesn't hold as great a place in my brain as it does in a lot of other people's superheroes mythos. I'm gonna give it like a 3.5.
Okay.
I've seen it plenty of times. It's just Michael Keaton Batman. This is the introduction. It had its place in history, and it was really big in 1989. I remember watching this movie in the theater. It was cool back then.
Mm-hmm.
But
From
it is what it is.
Jude mentioned the Art Deco,
Uh-huh.
like kind of ambiguous time period that this takes place in. For me, this is prime Batman, the 1920s, 30s gangster. Like they have the fedoras and the trench coats and all that stuff, but the cars are like the 1970s cars.
Yeah.
So it's a little
And the
weird.
computers.
And the computers and stuff like that. It's a little weird, but I personally feel like the best era for Batman is like post-depression 1930s. I think that like it just works. I don't know. There's something about that aesthetic.
It's very noir.
The animated series was
30s.
that's probably my favorite Batman.
Yeah. This is the longest running
Yeah.
Batman that actually.
that show was just next level.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mark Hamill is the Joker. Do you think
Yeah.
Mark Hamill is better than Jack Nicholson? Ooh, that's a question for the comments. Mark Hamill or Jack Nicholson? Two extremely different.
Well, let me put
Jokers.
it this way: when I think of the Joker, Jack Nicholson is not even in my brain.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's
if we hadn't watched this movie this week, it wouldn't even be on my radar.
And I think Mark Hamill's gone on record as saying that Jack Nicholson's performance was an inspiration for his Joker.
Yeah.
actually, I know a lot about this, but when they were doing auditions for the Joker for the animated series, they specifically had a note on all the scripts and everything. Don't do Jack. So they told Mark Hamill, like, you do whatever version of the Joker you do, just don't do a Jack Nicholson impersonation. Like, he could probably inspire it as far as like personality types, kind of the quirkiness and stuff like that. But they were like, don't do Jack Nicholson. Like, we want you to be something different. And God damn it, did he nail it?
Yeah.
And now they're telling people, don't do Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Do something different.
Don't do Heath Ledger.
Yeah, don't do Heath Ledger. Do something
They
different.
all have their place.
That's a voice acting trick is when you're trying to create a character, when you're inspired by someone else who has already done the character, they tell you don't do an impression, do a bad impression. And that's how you make it your own.
Oh, interesting. Jude.
Yes.
Star rating for this movie.
I really enjoyed this. I don't remember when the last time I watched it was. It might have been in the 90s. It was fun to come back and revisit it. I had a really good time this week. I didn't really want to do these movies. And then once we sat down and started watching them, I had such a great time with it. So it was a nice little surprise that I didn't anticipate enjoying it as much as I did. I loved this movie. I loved Vicky Vale. I totally forgot how good Kim Basinger is in this. Everybody's just doing a really good job. I love Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne. He's my Batman.
Yeah.
When I think of Batman, I think of Michael Keaton because that's the Batman that was my first introduction to Batman. And so I compare other Batmans mostly to his Bruce Wayne because I feel like I have such a connection to, I don't know, that's a weird word for it, but I have such a appreciation for the character of Bruce Wayne because I think that Bruce Wayne should be charismatic. He should be his own character. He should be different from the Batman. Mm-hmm. And the Batman is his, all of his trauma embodied. And Bruce Wayne is the character that is relieved of all of that. So he should be a completely different character. And I think that Michael Keaton does a really good job with that. So for me, this is 4 cows out of 5 cows.
Supposed to get 5 stars. 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Sorry, yeah.
All right.
I was thinking of 5 cows, and I was like, how many? It's 4.
Okay, just knowing how big of a Batman fan that you are, please enlighten me. What's your star rating for this?
Yeah, so again, just like with our review of Superman, I'm going to rate this based off of the time period in which it was made and came out. But also, I was not joking when I said that this was one of the movies that made Kadish. Mm-hmm. Like when I was a kid, I was obsessed with this movie. And this movie led me to Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns comic book, which is one of the greatest comic books ever made. Absolutely.
We have a
loved it.
giant Batman in our dining room.
Yeah, there's a giant Batman statue right there.
And he has his own OnlyFans, by the way.
Bulletproofpackage.com.
Yes. So, that led me to discover Frank Miller, and I got into his work with Daredevil and other Batman stuff. And it opened up a new world of Batman for me because when I was really young, we were living in Germany, and the only thing I had to read in English was like Batman comic books, and some of them were kind of campy. And this brought them to like a different level of maturity. And as I got older, I got deeper into like these more mature like Batman stories and stuff like that. And so like this movie had like a very profound effect on me. Like I just grew up loving it, and this kind of cemented my love of Batman. Now, as an older gentleman watching this movie, and looking back on it, like there are some elements to it that are more campy than I think were necessary at the time. But I can appreciate like what this movie accomplished and what it did for the character and what it had to overcome with like the Batman 66 stigma and stuff like that. So for me, this is truly the movie that cemented Batman as like part of like the pop culture mythology, like the fabric of what we think of as modern mythology. So it's a very important work, and for all those reasons, I guess I should say, it earns 5 bats out of 5 for me. It's a 5-star movie. It's a classic.
Nice.
They still use the Danny Elfman theme, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff.
Yep. That was the thing. This was something I learned when I was watching this. I don't know if I never thought about it before or what, but the score from the animated series that I grew up with came from this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, Paul Dini saw this movie and became obsessed with it. And this started his love affair with Batman. And that's what led him to creating the animated series the way that he did it.
Gosh, it's so freaking good. I know Jude won't let us, but we really need to talk about the animated series at some point. Maybe like Mask of the Phantasm or something.
Oh, she's going to watch some cartoons this year.
For sure. Jude, you're watching cartoons this year.
Is this a good time to put in my notice?
It's like, I quit. All right, that's it for the podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you
Did you rate it?
I did, didn't I? Did I give it like 4 stars, right? 4 stars, 4.
I was the low one at 3.5.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you are still watching at this point and you want to support what we do here so we can make more great content for you, go to saltinerdclub.com and sign up to become a club member. There you're going to get access to an incredible back catalog of interviews, hanging out with David Hewlett, talking about Doctor Who. We've got some classic sci-fi. We did Buffy the Vampire Slayer, other great old school sci-fi shows like Buck Rogers in the 25th Century.
That was fun.
That was a blast.
We had a great time with that. Beady, beady, beady.
Beady, beady, beady. Freaking little penis robot. And then coming into this new year, we're going to be doing commentaries on original Star Trek, the original series, TV shows, episode by episode breakdowns. So we're going to be sitting here at this table with each other, watching the show. We'll give you guys, as club members, timestamps to watch along with us. And if we can get away with it, we might have some, I don't know, we'll figure it out. But anyway, join up, saltinerdclub.com. And it's only $5 a month. You guys get a huge value. So
Question.
Yeah.
Are we going to start at the first one and just go
Yep.
down the line, or are we picking specific
Nope.
episodes?
Start from the beginning, go to the end.
I'm getting two different answers here.
No, we already covered the first episode, so we're covering the episodes that we're not that we
But
haven't
we're doing
already done.
commentaries. Those were reviews.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
We're doing the Salt Vampire episode again. We'll figure it out.
I would love to revisit the Salt Vampires again. Are you kidding me?
We'll figure it out. Anyway, saltinerdclub.com. Join up, guys. All right. V, say goodbye to the people. What do you got going on Saturdays? Anything?
Saturdays, we're just talking about pop culture and new shows and stuff that's people are talking about out there.
Cool.
Whatever's in the
Talking about what people are talking
about what's going on. Yeah, with Matt and Brian from the Popcast and our rotating band of crazy people.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
All right, Jude, say goodbye.
Goodbye. And also, I do have a new book coming out.
Ooh, shout it out.
So I've been working with this production company called Sound Booth Theater, and they have their own app that you can directly get audiobooks in audio play, and they do a lot of really cool like lit RP stuff, and so they're doing some really original fun content. You can get it on your Audible or whatever. It's called Trial by Fire, Dragon Guard, Book 1.
Ooh, downloading that for sure.
Yeah, it's a fantasy book, so
cool.
Yeah.
Very good, Jude. Congratulations.
thank you. Not sure when it releases, but it's coming out soon.
Excellent.
Maybe by the time this video is out.
All right, cool. Okay, just say goodbye.
So go out, do the Dark Knight challenge, watch Batman 89 back to back with Nolan's The Dark Knight, and let us know in the comments what you find out there, because I'm sure it will be surprising for you.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay salty.